So starting off, I am actually going to start with the secondhand experiences I've had with the spiritual realm and metaphysical, with demons and ghosts and the like. And then I'll get to my own experiences. Even as a kid and currently, I have had a lot of friends who are into astrology, into fortune telling, into tarot cards, into meditation and yoga. They're obsessed with aliens and UFOs and things like that. They're obsessed with ghost stories. Some of those people, even as a kid and currently now, are into things like astral projection, witchcraft, anything that has to do with the occult, crystals, drugs, hallucinogenic drugs. I've known a lot of people who have played with Ouija boards in their lives, and some people who are seeking to open their third eye. So even growing up, I had friends that had ghosts in their house. They would have things that they felt like lived in their attics, things that they felt like would stare at them at night, or a common occurrence among a lot of people I knew was at nighttime having something laying on them and trying to suck out the air from them. In my family, we've even had things keeping parents from entering into rooms where their children were at, like a guard, like an unseen barrier between them and the room where their child is. A lot of parents have heard their child yelling or screaming to find them totally just fine in their room, and they think it's odd because it was obviously their kid. They heard their kid. Another common occurrence is the story of people who have angel friends that come to visit them and stay with them at nighttime, and these angels friends tell them things like, I'm your only friend and nobody likes you. I know everybody hates you, but I'm here for you. I'll take care of you. And then they feel this light peace wash over them. That's a common one. That's a very common one that I've seen among several people. Another common one has been when somebody in the house is doing occult practices, whether anybody knows it or not. There will be orbs floating through the house. Dogs seem to go crazy, actually possessed. I've seen possessed dogs before because of this very thing. And things falling off of walls. That's another thing, is when there is somebody that's messing or dabbling with spiritual things, things fall off walls and electricity problems happen. That one is like, obviously for the skeptics, that's harder to pinpoint, but that's been a common occurrence among the people that play with witchcraft, play with astral projection, stuff like that. They, for some reason, have an effect on the electricity, and that's been also a common one that I've heard, not in my experience, not just in my experience, but also in other people's experiences with people that have been possessed or highly influenced by demons. Another one is, I've known people that go to see Reiki healers to be healed of bad spirits, to be healed of negative emotions and things that they feel like are hindering their lives. They'll go to what's called Reiki healers, who are basically spiritual doctors. They go to them and the doctor performs a ritual over them, and they feel light and they feel cleansed and they feel better for a very short amount of time, in which I think Reiki healers are actually sending demons back with those people, and then those demons just affect them. And basically Reiki healers want your money, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get you back to the Reiki healer to take your money. So they send things back home with you that end up just doing more damage. Another common experience is parents complaining that their kids see things in the corners of their rooms, have imaginary friends, or a lot of people concerned with their kids having an imaginary friend. And those kids will say, yeah, last night I saw the table floating and I saw this floating and hung out with my imaginary friend. That's a common one. That is a very common one for parents to hear their children talking about, and usually there's other things connected with that. I've known other people that have seen like grotesque forms and heads popping their heads out of walls. So they'll see something pop its head out of a wall. It's grotesque and disturbing. Either that or things in the mirrors, things under the beds. We've talked about this a little bit in the past couple of videos, but those are serious things. These are things that people actually see, things in the mirror reflection under their beds or in their closets. I'll talk about that more with us. That's a personal experience that I've had a lot, things in the closet, but I'll come back to that one. Another common one has been for people that are fornicating or having sex outside of marriage. There's been a lot of people that have demonic things start happening in their homes after that takes place, after they have begun that process of doing things outside of marriage. Obviously, there's an invisible realm. There's a lot we can't see, and God has placed in the Bible, he has placed commands concerning marriage and covenant keeping, and I don't know how it works, but it does. And so in that scenario, there's also something that invites demons in. Not sure why. Another common one among a lot of people also has been hallucinogenic drugs and the things that people see before and after taking hallucinogenic drugs. Obviously, I believe that that is a gate that lets demons in. I'll talk more about common denominators and gates later, but hallucinogenic drugs are also a huge factor for letting in demons into a person's life. So a story from a Christian that I knew one time, they actually had a UFO land in their backyard. They believed that UFOs and aliens are demonic in nature also, and when they saw this coming, saw it land in their backyard, they went in their house and they prayed and they told the UFO to leave in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and it did. It disappeared. It took off. Again, I believe that God could have other life forms out there if he wanted. He's not held back in his power. He could do that if he wanted. I doubt that there's other things out in the universe. There could be, I don't know, but I don't think the UFOs and the aliens that we know of here on our earth, I think majority of the time they are demonic in nature and very much out to do some deceiving and harming if they can. I think there's a reason that we have the myths and lore and legends and spook around UFOs and aliens and things of the sort. A lot of people I've known have played with Ouija boards. A lot of people have played with Ouija boards and don't talk about it or try not to mention it because it's a big taboo, until recently, of course. But one story that came to me when I was when we were on tour, but there were a couple people that they'd already been getting into demonic stuff, and we told them that's not a good idea. You shouldn't be doing that. It's going to cause problems. And one day they came to me and they were freaking out. They were panicking, but they had been playing with a Ouija board, and things in their house started lifting in their living room and flying around. And I think it had just happened. So they came to me and they were telling me, they were freaking out, like, what do we do? I'm like, well, we already told you what was going to happen before you were doing that. But Ouija boards, huge gateway for letting in demons. Another person I knew asked a Ouija board when somebody was going to die. The Ouija board predicted when they were going to die, and that person died. This was a Christian that told me this story. Another person I've known who plays with Ouija boards gets sleep paralysis, and in their sleep paralysis has very grotesque demons take on the form of very grotesque humans and talk to them. Yeah, that's a common one too. I have a lot to talk about with Ouija boards, and I plan on making a video specifically about those and what I think they are and how they work and how the ideomotor effect plays in, but that'll be for the future. Another common story has been demons shaking some people's beds. That's been a common one from a lot of people I've heard or talked to. They will have something shake their bed at night violently. And again, things will lay on people with like white or pupilless eyes or red eyes. That's a common one also.